Are you struggling to get clients? Are you wishing that clients were chasing you down and begging to work with you? Well, today we're going to uncover some key secrets on how to make that happen.
Welcome to Thriving Launch with Luis Congdon and Kamala Chambers, the show for heart-centered entrepreneurs who want it all.
5 days a week, we bring you different segments to inspire you to live a life of freedom. We interview the leading experts in the field of business, health, and love. Be sure to check out Training Tuesdays, where we give you a clear action plan to grow your own business. Maybe you can relate to this. When I was a full-time coach, keep repeating the same things to people over and over and over again, and it got to be kind of draining, and I wasn't really enjoying what I was doing anymore. So what I decided to do was record the things that I had to tell clients over and over and over again, and then I packaged those recordings together and sold them as an online course. If you're interested in creating and selling your own online course, head over to thrivinglaunch.com, and I have a free training for you on how to create and make passive income through your own online course.
All right, so you want to raise your fees, you want to have more clients, and you want to have a thriving business. One person comes to mind to teach us how to really be awesome and crush it in our business. Jeffrey Gitomer is today's guest. He's written something like 12 books. He's got millions of followers online, has a huge email list, and he's speaking on stages all around the world. Jeffrey Gitomer is someone that I truly admire in the world of sales. He's been one of my most fundamental teachers in sales, and so I'm really excited to bring to you Jeffrey Gitomer. Welcome to Thriving Launch. I'm really excited. We've brought on Jeffrey Gitomer. Jeffrey, I really love your work and what you're up to with sales. Welcome to the show. Are you ready to launch?
I'm ready, Luis. I'm ready.
All right. So I'm excited to talk about sales and how to get to a place where people are coming after us. People are seeking to find us, our services, because this does so much for our business. I know that I've been to a place where I was cold calling people. I was knocking on doors, and I absolutely hate that lifestyle where you're chasing after people. So what are some of the things that we need to know in order to get to the place where people are chasing us?
Well, first of all, the typical entrepreneur in today's business launch world has an idea and may not be the person who they think is going to be the one who's in sales. And they were going to hire a bunch of salespeople, and that would be their panacea or solve their problem or their issue. When in fact, the internet has provided an opportunity for them to create what's euphemistically called content marketing, but it's probably the poorest use of the words on the planet because the people that use it have no idea what it is. And there's a way for, at least I've been using it for the last 25 years, there's a way for the entrepreneur, the launch guy, to put out information of value that can attract attention. It doesn't necessarily have to attract excitement, but it does have to attract interest. Can I get someone interested in what it is that I'm saying or doing? And if I can do that through a series of articles, podcasts, blogs, tweets, YouTube videos, whatever the circumstance is in social media, they have a shot at it. So let me start out by redefining content marketing so that the person who's listening to this can actually get an idea of what they have to do before they hire a salesperson. The first thing they have to do is make sure that the content is in favor of the customer. In other words, I don't want to know how great you are. I want to know how I win. I want to know what I can do. I want to know how I have to act. But something that I perceive is valuable to me. So it's perceived valuable content or readable content or usable content or interesting content, but it's not just plain content. And most of the time, people are trying to put out some offering. Like if you go to Twitter and you see all the bit.lys that are out there, most of those bit.lys don't lead you to content. They lead you to an offer. And that is probably the biggest single turnoff in the Twitter world. And it's the same thing in anything that they do, any kind of email. It's going to have some kind of silly graphic in there, and please click here because you're going to get the deal of your life, and there's 3 bullet points, and it's all bullshit. So I feel as though the entrepreneur has to understand that their message has to be value-based, not sales-based. And the more value that you provide out into the marketplace, the more your phone is likely to ring or people are likely to connect with you. engage with you and connect with you. And really, in the young stages of a business, besides making a few sales, connection is what it's all about.
This is fantastic. And one way that Ray Higdon talked about it in our interview with him is out teach your competition. Be the leader in your market and be the one putting out the most valuable content. I'd love to hear a little bit more about how you integrate this, how you incorporate putting out content. I know that putting out content can be a real drag for some people. It can be a lot of work. Do you have any tips on how to make it easier?
Well, I would say that the word easy and the word entrepreneur have nothing in common.
I absolutely agree with that.
So let's
I think
talk
that's
about,
a tweetable. I like that. That's
exactly.
pretty awesome.
So let's talk about what might be a sure path. So when I started my sales training business in earnest, it was 1988. And it wasn't until 1992 that I started to write. Writing changes everything. But if you recall 1992, if you were born, when were you guys born?
We were both born in 83.
Okay, so you get it. But the internet didn't really happen until 95, 96, 97. And even then, it was dial-up. So I didn't have any way of getting out socially. I had to be in print. So I had to be in a newspaper or a magazine or some kind of business weekly in order to be able to get response. So I put in, at the end of every column that I wrote, there was a call to action. If you want more information about this, send me this. And people did. At first it was a fax and then it was an email. And that got me thousands and thousands of responses. And that's the whole key is, can you write something that's got enough interest that the person reads all the way to the end and then takes action? So that's a simple thing. Now, before that, I put myself in front of people that could say yes to me, and I gave them value. So you deliver value, and then you ask for response. And those are two key critical issues that now are even simpler than ever because all I have to do now is put a click. I put a click here to get more stuff, a little blue line somewhere, and people will click it, and they'll go to my website, and that puts them in a funnel, and then, it's very sophisticated now. It was not sophisticated when I first started out.
I love how the strategy behind it has to be very intelligent. You have to really know what you're doing, the ins and outs.
If you're an entrepreneur, you can't be an idiot.
Exactly. And I really love that about being an entrepreneur. And I actually, the first thing I do is try to talk people out of it. And then once, if they're crazy enough to sit through the conversation of me talking them out of it and they still want to do it, then we dive in and we get real.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty interesting. I think in many ways you're correct. You try to poke a hole in it, maybe a hole that they didn't see in their enthusiasm, and then you kind of carry on from there.
Yeah, one way that we've found to be able to produce content that is the quickest path, or the path that we've enjoyed the most, is through podcasting. It's something that we can produce content in conjunction with other people. We have you and experts come on talking about the stuff that they're genius at, because we all, everybody has their genius. What are some of your favorite ways to put out valuable content?
Well, I know that salespeople have needs to build their skills. So I'll write on a specific skill, whether it's asking a question or building a relationship, or even the best way to make an appointment or have somebody meet you for a cup of coffee. The challenge is to focus on a single topic and not try to talk about 28 things at one time, and write so that Mother Google will find it and post it up someplace. And I think for that, you need somewhere around 900 words in order to really make it Mother Googleable. But once you have that process down, then you have to deal with consistency. You can't write one every 6 months and think something's going to happen. For me, it's weekly. And I've been doing weekly for the last, 20-something years. And it works.
Jeffrey, I know that you're incredibly prolific. You've written quite a number of books. Just in the world of books, you have a nice body of work. I mean, most of us are thinking just getting one book out is hard. And I know that you're somebody that doesn't do a lot of studying for books. You have an idea and you sit down and you're not grabbing quotes and you don't have a bunch of books next to you. You really pull it out from yourself. When I think about you and the amount of content that you're delivering, I see you on YouTube. I see you on Twitter. You're everywhere, Jeffrey. I can't get away from you. And it's really awesome because you share so much value. But one, how do you keep enough inspiration to continually do that? And then two, and part of it's just a grind, but I still think that even when people are grinding, they're running off of something. I saw Anthony Robbins speaking, and he was talking about how his voice box should actually be gone. But he said, this is just inspiration that's moving me. I mean, my voice shouldn't be around right now for how much I talk. How are you staying inspired to create that much content? And where are you finding the inspiration to pull from and then create something?
If you read Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich, you'll find that he recommends being observant. So I've been observant since 1972. I look at everything. I look at everyone. I talk to everyone that I possibly can. And I'm in New York City right now, which is the epicenter of things that you got to look at. I live in Charlotte, North Carolina, and New York, and it helps me have a depth of content, a depth of body of work, and gives me ideas. And the minute I get an idea, I write it down. Or the minute I see something, I write it down. Or now I text myself or take a photograph of it. So I'm responsible for my own ideas. I'm responsible. I see a bad situation. I see someone doing something stupid, some service thing being done poorly, or some service thing being done great, and then I write about it.
I love how being observant can be the fuel. I mean, when we're paying attention to what's going on around us.
And most people are just looking at their phone like idiots.
Jeffrey really says it's straight.
Well, I mean, think about it. What the hell can you see if you're looking at your phone all day?
Exactly.
And what did you do 10 years ago before you had one of these? Somehow you managed, right?
So, Jeffrey, you've given us a lot of valuable tips, and I don't know if you listen, all of you that are listening right now, I don't know if you know the value that Jeffrey's given us. When I was first starting in my entrepreneur journey, I had no idea what I was doing. I came from the nonprofit world. I was very into giving and not making money. And then you start your own business where at some level you've got to make money now. There's nobody paying you for what you do. And I remember trying to figure out how in the heck am I going to get my name out there? How can people understand that I have value? And one of the things that I started doing is I just started giving away 20-minute coaching calls to people. And I didn't know how to do sales, so there was no pitch. I just get on a call and add value. And I got a few clients that was very slow going. I hired a sales trainer to help me at some point. But somebody came into my life and said, hey, Luis, one of the things that you're not doing is you're not creating a body of work that shows that you're an expert and teaches us something. You're focusing. I got really focused on sales because I'd been kind of the opposite of just give, and giving without understanding the sales aspect and without creating blog articles and that kind of thing. It was literally phone calls. You're just connecting with people. Last time I checked, I did 350 calls in less than a year, all of them ranging from at least 30 minutes or beyond, all completely free. And that I built my name on in a lot of ways by doing that. But at some point I realized I can't do this and I can't grow a business this way. So somebody came into my life and said, Luis, why don't you start writing blog articles and Facebook posts and tweets and things that show us that you're an expert and give us tips and tricks and really dive deep into your body of knowledge and teach us how you do what you do. And once I started doing that, it totally shifted everything for me. And I just want to encourage all of you that if you have some knowledge, start sharing it. If you want to get paid for what you know, you first need to show that you know it.
Right. There are many sales training companies that put out the philosophy of don't give away your work or don't do free consulting. Those people are morons. I mean, I've made literally millions of dollars by giving stuff away. And every solid mentor I've ever had has made their money by giving stuff away. My recommendation is give it away.
You have a really great story. Derek Halpern is someone that I really admire and appreciate over at socialtriggers.com, and he teaches people how to blog, gives tons of free stuff away. One of the stories that I remember reading about you, Jeffrey, is that you sold t-shirts, and you talked to this guy. I don't know, you somehow made a connection and you just gave to him or something like that. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it sounded like you kind of created a friendship, and then it turned out that this guy ended up buying tons of shirts from you, and you made one of your first like $1 million deals, and you were young, but you approached this person as, I'm just going to bring value to this guy.
His credit card got stuck in a machine in the Dallas airport, and I kind of recognized him from a trade show. And I asked him what was up, and he was all cursing about his credit card thing. So I gave him $100, and he's literally couldn't believe it. And I got the $100 in the literally by FedEx the next day. And then he called me up and asked me if he had the contract for the 1984 Olympics, but he was only going to manufacture the shirts, and he needed somebody to print them, and I was the guy.
That's amazing. I love that story. What I love about that story is this sharing and caring about somebody that you don't know.
To take a risk, Luis.
Yeah.
It's just, if you're not willing to give up a few dollars to win, then go get a job someplace for FedEx or be a driver.
It's really amazing to have you on the show. All of you thriving launchers, head on over to thrivinglaunch.com. We have links to all of Jeffrey Gitomer's work. He has lots of different books for you guys. We have a link to his website so you can go over there. He has sales training. Jeffrey is somebody that I've learned a lot from. Highly recommend you go over to thrivinglaunch.com. Check out everything. Kamala, do you want to close this out?
Yeah, we've been here with Jeffrey, and it's been such an honor to have you here. And please make sure to check him out and continue to practice this content, putting out your content and being consistent. That's a huge takeaway from today. Thank you, Thriving Launchers.
It's my pleasure.
You've been listening to the Thriving Launch podcast. For books and resources related to today's episode, make sure to head over to thrivinglaunch.com. We'll see you there.
How do you stay inspired? How do you stay motivated? How do you keep your relationship fresh, vibrant, and alive? On next episode, we have Dr. Gay Hendricks coming on the show to discuss with us how to keep love vibrant and creative. And also, if you're loving the show, make sure to subscribe and rate and review us on whatever medium you listen to Thriving Launch Podcast.